Hey guys, I know this video is a little bit late, in fact a lot late, but I have a very good reason, okay? I have kids to feed. Just one, singular. But in all seriousness though, the reason why I didn't get this video out to you sooner, and I wanted to release it about a month ago, was the fact that I've been pretty busy, both in my personal life and in planning for this channel. I've been trying to get together a lot of really great ideas and a lot of great content to publish, and hopefully you'll get to see some of those ideas over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I also wanted to take my time. You see, going into the new year, and I think I mentioned this in my most anticipated videos of 2019 video, I had to play a lot of catch-up. There were a lot of films in 2018 that I didn't really get a chance to see, and I mean, there's only so much time in the world, but I wanted to make sure that before I released this video that I was very thorough. Not only thorough in watching everything that needed to be watched, but thorough in picking apart the things that I liked about some of my favorite films, and so that I can create a better order, so that I can truly rank these films, if that makes any sense. And don't give me any crap, okay? Because the Academy Awards haven't really even given us a sense of who their favorite films are, and we won't find out who their favorite films are until February 24th. And I really hope this video is released before then.
But it wasn't.
Seriously though, on a serious note, I wanted to make sure that I took the time and created a video and a list that I was very proud of, and I thought the best way to do that was to take my time, like I have. I mean, if 2 months isn't enough time, then I don't know how long is. Yeah, but here we are, okay? And this is going to be my official list of my favorite films of 2018, and I really do hope you enjoy it. But before we actually get into the list, I feel like I should say this. 2018 was a fantastic year for film. There were a lot of really great ones released, and while this video I'll primarily be covering my top 10 favorites ranked, there were still a lot of great ones that caught my eye and that I really did still enjoy. So for those, I've decided to create a separate list, an honorable mentions list, because truthfully, some of them are just as good as some of these that I'm going to talk about today, but they just missed the cut. And if you haven't heard of them, I highly recommend you go check them out. Now, in no particular order, those films are Roma, Green Book, Widows, Hereditary, Searching, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Suspiria, Annihilation, Anna and the Apocalypse, 8th Grade, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, and Ready Player One. Now, without further ado, let's get into my top 10 favorite films of 2018. Number 10, American Animals. This film actually came from nowhere. It was actually produced by MoviePass, for those of you guys who remember MoviePass. This is probably the only good thing that they did before they went kablooey. But this film was really good. Well, obviously it was good if it made my top 10 list, but this film just blew me away. It was one of those films that I saw, and when I walked away from it, it just had this overall profound experience on me. And it's not even like a really deep story. It just has really deep characters that you can relate to. If you haven't heard of it, it is a heist film. It's a true story about these college kids that try and pull off this heist. And it also, I know this probably doesn't make much sense, it's probably one of my favorite documentaries of 2018 too. And it's not a documentary, but me saying that is a testament to the style in which it's told. It has a very documentary feel, and it has a lot of the people that were actually involved in the incident in the film talking about it, which I thought added like a cool little layer on top of the film. But yeah, as I said before, just the characters, the portrayal of the characters, just really came across as just relatable. These were people whose problems I could feel, whose existentialism I understood. And that's why I really like this film. Number 9, mid-90s. Jonah Hill's directorial debut blew me away. I did not know that this guy...
Ask me about my winner!
...was capable of something like this, okay? This film was just so beautifully written and directed. He did both. And honestly, it's a rare coming-of-age story, one that I couldn't, well, I didn't have anything in common with, but one that I also could relate to so well. Very impressive, Jonah Hill. Seriously, very impressive. And if there's one thing that this film did do for me more than anything, it got me excited to see a different part of an actor, especially a comedic actor that we normally don't get a chance to see. So I'm very excited to see where his career goes after this. Number 8, Cold War. Now, this film, to be totally honest with you, I really didn't know too much about. And in fact, I saw it on a whim. I didn't really have any intention of seeing it until I saw on Twitter somebody compared it to La La Land. And personally, I loved La La Land. And I had to see, what all the hype was about. And I saw it, and lo and behold, I was blown away. Now, it is similar to La La Land in some respects, but for the most part, it's a much different film. It is a love story between two artists who are just trying to make it, but it doesn't take place in modern day like La La Land. It actually takes place in the 1940s, 1950s, and 1960s during the Cold War. And it actually revolves around these two people that are not only trying to break free from the politics that define them, but they're also just trying to get a sense of what it means to love, trying to get a sense of what it means to care for somebody other than themselves. And that spoke volumes to me. It's a new take on romance that I haven't seen in a while. And it was very powerful. It's very well done cinematically, and it's well acted. It's just amazing on so many different levels. And personally, it is my favorite foreign film of 2018. Yeah, it's much better than Roma in my opinion, and I know there are a lot of people that are like, what, that's impossible, but seriously, if you haven't seen this movie, I would highly recommend you go check it out. It will be available on Amazon Prime next month, so stay tuned. And yeah, this film, I cannot stop speaking about it enough. It's definitely something that I don't regret, and I'm really glad I gave this film a chance. Number 7, You Were Never Really Here. This film, without a doubt, is a story that we've definitely seen before on the big screen. It revolves around a hitman who is basically in charge of protecting this young woman who's in a little bit of trouble. However, even with it being a familiar story, with the way that it's told stylistically and cinematically, it just feels so fresh. Joaquin Phoenix plays the said hitman, and this is the performance of his career. This is the best thing that I've ever seen him do, and the best thing he probably will do for a while. Sorry. But he just blows me away. His character in this is just so layered, and the journey that he goes on, the distance that he takes to protect this girl is incredible. And it is a film that I actually loved because the imagery that we're shown throughout the film tell a much bigger and deeper story. And I really loved it. Please go check this one out if you haven't already. Number 6. First Reformed. Hashtag give Ethan Hawke his Oscar already. I cannot even put into words how upsetting it is that this film got so much love, and Ethan Hawke got so much love early on during award season, yet the Academy snubbed him, and they snubbed him really hard. Okay, this, similar to Joaquin Phoenix's performance, is Ethan Hawke's best performance. I'm convinced he's probably never going to do anything this good in his life. And this film, from the moment I saw it, I knew that I was in love. This film tackles themes about religion and existentialism and just your true purpose more tastefully than I think any other film this year. And a lot of people compared it to Mother when it first came out because, Mother did have its themes of religion and whatnot, but this film is much more tasteful than Mother, in my opinion, of course. This film, for those of you guys who haven't heard of it, has to do with a reverend, played by Ethan Hawke, who comes across this troubled young gentleman, and something happens, don't want to spoil anything, and after that something happens, he starts to question his faith. And that's really all I'm going to say, because this film is such a treat, especially if you have no idea what you're getting into. Like myself, I literally had no idea what the film was about until I saw it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Please, if you haven't seen this one, check this one out. And if you do, and I really hope you do, you will absolutely understand what I'm talking about with Ethan Hawke's performance here. And Cedric the Entertainer is in it too, and he plays a really different role. I figured I might as well throw that one in there. But yeah. Number 5, The Favorite. Yorgos Lanthimos can do no wrong. I've been following this guy since his earliest works, and I've loved every single one of his films, including The Lobster, which is probably his most strange. I take that back, all of his films are strange, but they are beautifully strange, and this one seems to be the outlier out of all his films just because it's actually a true story. It revolves around a power struggle between 3 women during the 18th century while England is at war with France. And while on paper that does sound boring, it's actually a comedy. And the 3 leads, Olivia Colman, Rachel Weisz, and Emma Stone, actually manage to keep your gaze. I mean, they make this movie. And I really just love the way that it showed just how important women were in a time where men didn't think they were important at all. This film is definitely not for everybody. However, I do believe that once you start to realize just how absurd and funny some of the things that are happening are, especially for the time that they're happening in, you can absolutely come to appreciate this film for what it is. Number 4, Avengers: Infinity War. Do I even have to mention why this is on my list? I mean, this was a movie event that was 10 years in the making, and it had one of the biggest and best ensembles in modern movie history. I mean, its ambition was made into a meme. It was called the most ambitious crossover event in history, remember? This film was the movie event of 2018. It may not have been the best movie of 2018, but it was absolutely the #1 movie that everybody wanted to see in 2018, just because of how big it was and all the hype surrounding it. And for the 3 people in the world that haven't seen it, it's on Netflix, so make sure you go check it out. But, yeah, I think I said more than enough as to why this film is one of my favorites. Number 3, A Star is Born. This film, so heartbreaking, so beautiful. I mentioned in my review on this channel just how incredible it was to see 2 stars actually be born in this movie. Bradley Cooper behind the camera and Lady Gaga in front of the camera. And I cannot say how much I love this movie enough, once again, and I feel like I'm just repeating what I said in my review, but I really did love this film, and while it isn't my absolute favorite film of 2018, it's certainly one of my most favorite romantic musicals of all time. It's up there with La La Land, at least. But yeah, guys, once again, for the 3 people out there who haven't seen this film or heard of it, or even seen any of the previous versions, go check this film out. It is a delight. Number 2, Bodied. This film was one of my most anticipated films of 2018. I spoke about it again in my review, about how excited I was to see this film because it was about battle rap and it was produced by Eminem, and it just looked so different from, you know, your modern movie. And even the director, Joseph Kahn, has a history of making movies that are like the anti-movie, if you will. And that's something that I like. It's something different. Overall, something that you wouldn't normally expect to succeed. And it didn't do too well in the box office, but it did get large crowds going to it, I found. Word of mouth had a huge effect on this film. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys watching this may not have heard of it or even seen it. And if you haven't, please do. This film was fantastic. It literally takes PC culture and all the social justice warriors of the world, and it just puts them in a corner, right? And then it sticks a giant middle finger at them. It is that fantastic, and I really loved it, as you can tell. It's number 2 on my list, and it's not number 2 on my list for no reason. Highly recommended. And like I said before, Eminem produced it, and it's got a really great cast. Not only do we have some up-and-comers, but we also have some actual battle rappers in this film. So if you're a fan of battle rap, or even hip-hop, or even music, or poetry, or just art in general, I promise you, you will definitely appreciate this film. And number one, my number one favorite film of 2018. Are you ready? It is, drumroll please. Okay, enough with that. My number one favorite film of 2018 was Black Klansman. I know. I didn't review it, so you don't really know my thoughts on it, but I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it right now, okay? This film, obviously, I loved it. It is everything that I think everybody in the world needs to see today. It tackles issues that were not only happening in the 1960s and 70s, but issues that are still happening today. For those of you guys who haven't heard of it or don't know the story, it revolves around a black detective who actually impersonates a white guy. And with the help of his white partner, they infiltrate the KKK and actually try and do some good and prevent them from doing their terrorist actions. This film blew me away. It was another film that I saw, that when I saw, I knew that I was going to love it. From the very opening, all the way until the heartbreaking end. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because once again, I do still think this is an important film that a lot of people need to see. John David Washington, Denzel Washington's son, is the star, and Kylo Ren, or should I say Adam Driver rather, does a phenomenal job, and probably my favorite supporting actor performance of 2018 as well. There was just something about his character that I really couldn't shake in this film. Something that it stood with me, and it still stays with me to this day. I cannot stop saying so many good things about this film, because I really did love it, and it might actually just go into like my top 10 of all time. I'm still thinking about it though. But yeah, guys, those were my top 10 favorite films of 2018. And then some, because you know, the honorable mentions. It just feels so good to get it off my chest. It feels like a giant secret. It's just I've been mulling it over for so long, and I'm finally glad that I got to put it out there in the world for you to see. And if any of you guys have seen any of those movies, or you agree with some of the choices that I made, or even if you haven't heard of any of the films that I spoke about, please feel free to comment below. And if you want to share any of your top favorite films of 2018, or any of your favorite films at all, or anything at all, please feel free to comment in the comment section. I'd love to see and hear what you guys had to say. And for those of you guys who have not seen my reviews for some of the films that I loved and reviewed in 2018, like American Animals, or Bodied, or A Star is Born, I'll put the links in the description box below as well, so you can take a look at some of my more in-depth analysis on those. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. As always, if you like this video, hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed, I would ask that you please subscribe. I post new videos weekly. Like I said earlier in this video, I got tons of new stuff that I'm working on. Hopefully March will be a special month for the channel. I really do hope it is anyway. But yeah, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to view these videos. It really does mean the world to me. I love making these videos for you, in case you haven't noticed. I love the fact that I can just plop the camera down and talk about something that is so passionate to me, and that some of you guys actually take the time to listen. Like I said, it means the world to me. And as a matter of fact, I think I actually have another video that I need to work on. So I should probably let you go. So until next time, I'm Dempsey Pilot. Take care.